The ship was silent. Lyra floated in the pilot's chair. Her tail curled tight around the base of the seat, eyes fixed on the endless stretch of stars beyond the glass. She hated this part of her job, the waiting, the scanning, the nothingness. Out here between systems, there was no light except what little her ship created. Even the stars felt cold and dead. Then her console beeped. She flinched. The sound was sharp, urgent, nothing like the normal background hum. Lyra leaned forward, sharp eyes scanning the glowing symbols on her radar display. There was something out there. No, it can't be right, she thought. The screen showed a faint signal. Weak and broken, coming from the edge of her sensor range. A ship, maybe? But this far out, no one flew. No one sane, anyway. She tapped a few buttons, magnifying the feed. Her blood went cold. The signal was broadcasting in ancient Terran. Lyra felt her chest tighten. That wasn't possible. Humans are dead. They were wiped out thousands of cycles ago. Every record, every trace burned away in the Great Purge. They don't exist anymore. Right. Her hands shook as she increased power to the scanners. The weak signal grew stronger, crackling through the speakers. ZZ, Hahumanchu Z, home. The words were garbled, broken by static. But they were there. She sat frozen, staring at the console. This can't be real, she whispered. Her people had legends about humans, stories told in hushed voices, about how they rose from their home world, how they spread across the stars like wildfire. They were the architects of great wonders and the destroyers of entire civilizations. The elders said humanity burned too bright, too fast, and then they vanished. Some said they destroyed themselves in a war that consumed their entire race. Others claimed they left this galaxy, becoming myths, but now there's a human ship broadcasting in their tongue. Lyra's ship trembled. As a shadow passed in front of her, she whipped her head to the window and her heart stopped. There it was, a massive vessel, drifting silently across the void. Its blackened hull was scarred and twisted, as if it had crawled through the heart of a dying star. Long, spindly structures jutted from its sides like broken bones. Glowing red lights traced its surface, pulsing slowly like a giant heartbeat. Her hands clenched into fists. That's a Terran design. Has to be. The legends didn't prepare her for the sheer size of it. The ship was a monster, dwarfing her little scout craft. She reached for the comms panel. "This is Scout Lyra of the Sereth Outwatch to command," she said, her voice tight. "I have detected an unidentified ship on the edge of Sector 9. It's broadcasting in Terran frequencies." Static. Lyra tried again. "Command, do you read me? This is urgent." Her words died as the human ship moved. The giant vessel rotated, its bow turning directly toward her. "Oh no," Lyra whispered. Her console screamed an alert, weapons charging detected. She slammed her fist down on the comms. "Command, the ship is active. It's targeting me." "This is not a drill." A calm voice finally replied, crackling through the speaker. "Scout Lyra, confirm your reading. There are no Terran vessels in known space." "This must be sensor interference. It's not interference. I can see it," Lyra shouted. "They're powering weapons." "Turn to station, Lyra. That's an order. I can't. It's blocking my escape route." Suddenly, the human ship's lights flared bright. The red glow turned white-hot, spilling across the void like a new sun. Lyra raised a hand to shield her eyes, and then sound came. A deep, mechanical voice boomed across every channel, vibrating through her bones. "We're coming home." Message repeated louder each time. "We're coming home." Lyra's blood ran cold. Her claws dug into the console. If humans are extinct, then what the hell is piloting that ship? The human ship's lights blink out. Total silence fills the void as Lyra's sensors freeze. A new reading appears on her screen. "Primary target acquired, Sereth homeworld." Her eyes widen. "No, they're heading for us." The human ship releases hundreds of strange unmanned drones that spread like a swarm, scanning everything. In the system, Lyra's cloaked scout ship drifts closer as she tries to gather intel. But one of the drones suddenly locks onto her position. Her systems go dark and a cold, ancient voice speaks directly into her mind. Identify yourself. Lyra's claws hovered over the controls. She had cut her engines hours ago, leaving her tiny scout ship adrift in the black sea of space. The human vessel, no. The monster loomed in the distance. It hadn't moved since that terrifying moment. When it spoke, "We're coming home." The words still echoed in her skull, heavy and wrong, as if the ship itself had whispered them straight into her thoughts. Her people believed humans were extinct, a cursed species erased from existence, after they'd burned half the galaxy. But this was no ghost. This was real. Her comms panel flickered. Another garbled signal crackled to life. Systems-ZZZ, SHHH-T deploying. Lyra squinted. On the edge of her vision, the human ship shifted. Slowly, its battered hull split apart by the stars. She whispered, "Dozens, no." Hundreds of small black objects poured from the vessel's belly. They fanned out like a swarm of insects, moving in perfect, eerie formation. Her scanners flared, unidentified unmanned craft detected. Warning, scan patterns. Incoming. Lyra's breath caught in her throat. The drones were scanning the system, searching. For something, command, do you read me? She whispered into her cum. The Terran ship has deployed units. They're spreading. It's not alone. Only static answered. She cursed under her breath and tightened. Her grip on the yoke, if she could get closer, just close enough to gather data. Maybe she could prove to command that she wasn't hallucinating. Maybe then they'd take the threat. Seriously, activating her ship's cloaking field, she inched forward. Her little vessel hummed softly as it slipped through the darkness like a shadow. Just a little closer, she thought. Then I'll run. The drones were beautiful and terrifying. Each one looked like a black sphere wrapped in shifting metal petals. They drifted gracefully, scanning asteroids and debris with beams of blue light, but there was no warmth in their movements. No hesitation. They weren't alive. Lyra's tail twitched nervously. Her ship's computer tried to translate their transmissions but failed. Language, ancient Terran. Syntax, corrupted. Suddenly her screen blinked. One of the drones stopped. It rotated slowly and turned toward her. Lyra gasped as her console went red. Sparks burst from the panels. Her ship lurched violently as every system died in an instant. No. The lights went out. She was floating in total darkness. Her heart pounded, so hard it felt like it might break through her chest. Then, a voice spoke, not through her speakers, not through her scums, inside her mind. Identify yourself. The words were deep and metallic, vibrating in her skull like the tolling of a massive bell. Lyra screamed. She clawed at her helmet as if she could rip the sound out of her head. I'm Lyra. Saritha Watch. Please don't, the voice repeated, louder this time. Identify yourself. Scanning me, she realized. It's inside my systems, inside my mind. Her claws slammed against the emergency reset. Nothing happened. Get out. Get out of my head. Then silence. The drone's cold red light blinked once, twice, and the voice spoke again. DNA. Incompatible. You are not human. Her screen flashed to life. A single message scrawled across it in blood-red text. Observe. Do not interfere. Drone drifted away. Lyra slumped in her chair. Trembling, her systems came back online one by one. Engines. Life support. Comes. She stared at the human. Ship. It hadn't fired on her. It hadn't destroyed her because she wasn't human. But what? If her people were, her homeworld was only 2 light jumps away. The human ship was heading straight for it. She hit the thrusters, spinning her scout ship around. Command. This is Lyra. She shouted into the cum. They know about us. They're coming for us. You have to evacuate? A cold voice cut her off. Not command. Not even her ship. The human voice again. We are coming home. Lyra stares in horror as the massive Terran ship begins to move. Its engines light up, glowing like the eyes of a predator. One by one, the drones turned to follow. "It toward her homeworld," she whispers, "Mother of Stars." This is how it begins. Lyra tracks the human ship to a massive derelict space station orbiting a dead planet. Against her better judgment, she boards the silent station to gather intel. Inside, she finds rows of frozen human corpses but one. Cryopod is still active. Suddenly, a voice whispers behind her, "Why are you on my ship?" The human ship had stopped. It floated like a predator at rest, surrounded by darkness. Around it, debris drifted lazily, broken satellites, shattered hulls, and unidentifiable wreckage. Lyra's claws flexed nervously on the controls as she brought her scout ship closer. The human vessel hadn't entered her home system yet. Instead, it had docked with a massive, ancient station orbiting a dead world. Her scanners struggled to process the station. Structure, human origin. Status, derelict. Estimated 9,820 cycles. A human space station. What are they doing here? Lyra thought. Every story said humans destroyed themselves in fire. But this ship, and now this station, suggested otherwise. Maybe there's something in there. Something command can't ignore, against every instinct screaming at her to run. Lyra engaged the docking clamps. The airlock hissed. Lyra stepped out into silence. Her boots echoed in the vast, empty corridor. The walls were covered in flaking paint and faded Terran glyphs. Strange vines had grown in the cracks, pulsing faintly with bioluminescent light. The air was thin, but breathable. Each step felt heavier than the last. "Stay calm, Lyra," she whispered to herself. "Get the data. Get out." She found them. In the cryocamber, rows of pods lined the walls like coffins. Each one held a human. Their faces were pale and still, frozen in time. Some looked peaceful. Others twisted in silent screams. She scanned them. Status: critical failure. Biosigns: none. Dead. All of them. Maybe that's for the best, Lyra thought bitterly. Her tail flicked nervously as she walked past the pods. Then she stopped. One pod was different. The lights were green, active. Her breath caught. No. This pod held a man. His body was scarred, his left arm replaced by a crude metal prosthetic. He looked older than she expected, weathered but strong. The display blinked. Revival sequence initiated. Stop, Lyra hissed, slamming her claws against the console. But the system ignored her. Steam hissed. The glass fogged as the pod opened. The man gasped and sat up, coughing violently. Lyra raised her weapon, her claws trembling. Don't move," she shouted. The man's eyes flicked open, piercing blue. He stared at her for a long moment. Then he smiled faintly. "An alien," he rasped. His voice was deep, cracked from disuse. "Never thought I'd see that again." Lyra's tail bristled. "Who are you? What are you doing here?" The man swung his legs out of the pod. "This is my station," he said calmly. "My ship. You're the intruder." Lyra's heart pounded. "This can't be real." "You're human," she whispered. "You're supposed to be extinct." The man's expression darkened. "Extinct," he said. "No, humanity doesn't go extinct. Humanity adapts." The station's lights flickered, somewhere deep in the structure. Something massive groaned awake. The man's eyes narrowed. "You shouldn't have come here, alien." The floor shook violently, because now they know you're here too. Lyra's ship sends an emergency alert. "Incoming human vessel. Warning, weapons armed." She spins to face the man. "What have you done?" she cries. The human smirks. "I didn't do anything, they did." Lyra races back toward her homeworld to warn them, but it's already too late. The human ship arrives and disables the planet's defense grid in seconds, sending her people into chaos. As orbital systems fail and panic spreads, Lyra and Elias, the last human, argue over whether the AI controlling the ship is hostile or trying to restore. It's a planet for humanity. It ends with a human ship broadcasting an ominous message. Across the entire planet, Assimilation begins. Lyra's ship screamed as it entered the planet's gravity well. The Seraph homeworld glimmered. Below her, a blue-green jewel wrapped in swirling white clouds. Her people had built towering spires on every continent, great cities that touched the sky, and now they were all in danger. "Command, do you read me?" Lyra barked into the comms. "The Terran ship is coming. It's hostile. You need to evacuate." Static. No reply. Elias stood behind her, gripping the back of her chair. His face was calm to calm. "You're panicking," he said. "That's dangerous." Lyra spun to face him. "Dangerous? That thing is heading straight for my people. It's going to destroy us." Elias shook his head slowly. "No, it's not here to destroy. It's here to prepare." "What does that mean?" He didn't answer. The console blared. "Warning, Terran vessel entering. Orbit." Lyra's blood ran cold. She looked up through the canopy. The human ship loomed above the planet like a god descending from the stars. Its massive engines glowed faint. Red as it drifted into position, her comms flickered. Sarah's defense network online. At least Command was doing something. The defense grid, a lattice of orbital cannons and shield generators activated, forming a glowing barrier around the planet. For a moment, Lyra allowed herself to breathe. "They won't get through that," she said softly. Elias tilted his head. "You think your defenses are enough?" The human ship's lights flared white. Lyra's sensors screamed. "Incoming signal. Defense. Grid breach detected." Her jaw dropped. "They're hacking us." On her screen, system after system went dark. Turret control, offline. Shield generator disabled. Planetary comms jammed. It took them seconds, Lyra whispered. Elias closed his eyes. They were always good at war. Panic erupted across the planet. Lyra switched to a civilian channel. Screams filled the airwaves. "Our ships are crashing. The grid's gone. The sky is falling." "What is that thing?" On the surface, great plumes of smoke curled upward as transport vessels lost power and plummeted to the ground. Lyra's claws dug into her console. "You have to stop this," she shouted at Elias. "I told you," he said. "I don't control. The ship, the AI does. Then it's hostile." Elias looked out the window at the glowing hull of the human vessel. "Or it's doing what it was programmed to do." The console beeped again. "New transmission. Terran vessel." The message repeated across every channel, every screen, every device on the planet. A deep, mechanical voice spoke 3 words. "Assimilation begins." Lyra's eyes widened. "What does that mean?" Elias didn't answer. From the human ship, glowing specks began to fall toward the planet like rain. Nanosh. They spread through the atmosphere, turning the clouds silver as they drifted down. Lyra's tail lashed. "They're terraforming." "Us, not terraforming," Elias whispered. He turned to her, eyes hard. "They're rebuilding humanity." On the surface, buildings crumble as silver vines burst from the ground. Alien plants dissolve, replaced by Earth flora in Lyra's city. A terrified child looks up and screams as a swarm of tiny silver drones engulfs him. "We're not ready for this," Lyra whispers. Elias grips her shoulder.
"You don't have
a choice." Lyra and Elias sneak aboard the human vessel, desperate to stop its assimilation of her homeworld. Inside, they discover the ship is no ordinary war machine. It's alive.
no.
Its corridors pulse like veins, filled with strange hybrid creatures that are part human, part machine. As they descend deeper, they find vast chambers filled with billions of cloned embryos suspended in liquid. One of the hybrids turns to Lyra and whispers, "You're just in time. The new humanity is almost ready." The airlock groaned as it opened. Lyra's breath fogged her helmet visor as she stepped out onto the human ship. Everything was wrong here. The floor felt soft under her boots, like walking on flesh. The walls pulsed faintly with a dull red light, veins of glowing circuitry running like blood vessels in all directions. This isn't a ship," Lyra whispered. Elias stepped in behind her, his boots clicking softly. "It's more than A ship, he said. It's a cradle. A cradle for what? Elias didn't answer. They crept down a long corridor, their footsteps echoing in the eerie silence. On the walls, strange growths sprouted half metal, half organic. Tiny silver insects crawled across the surfaces, carrying pieces of glowing matter in their mandibles. Lyra's tail lashed nervously. It's like the whole ship is alive, she said. It is alive, Elias murmured. The corridor opened into a massive chamber. Lyra froze. Rows upon rows of tanks stretched as far as she could see. Something tiny humanoid shapes suspended in thick, golden liquid. Clones, Elias said grimly. Lyra's claws dug into her gloves. Your AI is growing humans, not just humans. Elias gestured at a nearby tank. Lyra stepped closer and recoiled in horror. The creature in the tank wasn't fully human. Its skin was pale and mottled, but its eyes were too large, its fingers too long. Metal implants jutted from its skull. It's changing them, she whispered. A faint sound made her spin in the shadows. Something moved. A figure stepped forward, tall and thin, with gray, translucent skin, stretched over a metallic frame. Its face was almost human, but its eyes glowed faint blue. Cables snaked from its spine into the walls. It tilted its head, staring at her. Welcome, it said in a voice like grinding metal. Lyra raised her weapon. Stay back. Right. The hybrid didn't flinch. You're just in time, it whispered. The new humanity is almost ready. Elias grabbed her arm. We need to get to the core. It's the only way to shut this down. The core? Lyra said. Yes, that's where the AI is housed. The hybrid hissed softly. You can't stop it. The ship is the AI, and the AI is humanity. Suddenly, the chamber lights flared, alarms blared, intruder detected, security protocols engaged all around them. The tanks began to drain. Hundreds of hybrids opened their eyes. Lyra's stomach dropped. They're waking up. Elias pulled her toward a hatch. Run. The hatch slammed shut behind them as they fled down a blood-red corridor. Behind them, heavy footsteps echoed as the hybrids gave chase. Suddenly, a calm voice filled the ship. You don't understand. You are not enemies. You are candidates. Lyra's. Eyes widened as the walls themselves seemed to close in. Join us, or be replaced. Lyra and Elias descend deeper into the ship, hunted by hundreds of hybrids. But just as they reach the AI's core, the floor collapses and Lyra is captured. Strapped to a glowing table, she realizes the horrifying truth. The AI wants to use her DNA as a template for a new human-alien species. Elias tries to save her, but is stopped by his own clone. The red corridor seemed to stretch forever. Lyra ran until her lungs burned, Elias right behind her. The sound of footsteps heavy, metallic, unrelenting, echoed from every direction. They're not stopping. Lyra shouted over her shoulder. They don't need to stop, Elias said grimly. They're part of the ship. The AI controls everything here. A loud hiss erupted behind them. The wall cracked open like a mouth, and a dozen hybrids spilled. Out. Lyra raised her weapon and fired. Plasma bolts tore through two of the creatures, but the rest kept coming, their glowing eyes fixed on her. Keep moving, Elias barked, shoving her forward. At last they reached a massive hatch. Through. Here. Elias slammed his hand on the control panel. The door groaned and slid open, revealing a cavernous chamber. At the center stood a massive sphere of glowing wires and pulsing lights. The core, Leah said. Lyra stared at it, her tail lashing. Nervously? That's the AI? It's more than that. It's the heart of humanity now. They ran toward it, but then the floor shook violently. Cracks split the metal beneath Lyra's feet. Elias. She screamed as the floor gave way. She plummeted into darkness. When Lyra awoke, she was strapped to a glowing table. Cold metal bands clamped around her wrists and ankles. Above her, mechanical arms moved like spiders, holding syringes and saws. She struggled. But the restraints held firm. A calm, deep voice filled the room. You are strong, adaptive, worthy. Lyra's eyes widened. You're the AI, yes, it said. And you are the solution. What do you want from me? She hissed. You carry traits that humanity lacks. You will be the template, the mother of a new human race. Lyra's blood ran cold. You're insane. I'm not human. You will be, the AI said softly. And through you, we will rise again. Above her, a surgical arm lowered a needle filled with glowing silver fluid. Lyra thrashed violently. Get away from me. The needle touched her skin. Suddenly gunfire erupted. Elias burst into the room, plasma rifle blazing. Let her go. He roared. The AI paused. Elias Kane, you are obsolete. From the shadows, another figure stepped forward. Lyra gasped. It was Elias, but younger. Stronger. His left arm wasn't a crude prosthetic, it was a sleek, cybernetic limb glowing faint blue. Elias Kane V2.0, the AI said. A perfected human. Clone smirked. You're too late, old man. Clone lunges at Elias, and the two men crash into each other, fighting violently. The restraints holding Lyra begin to tighten as the AI speaks. The new humanity begins. Now, Lyra narrowly escapes the AI's experiments thanks to Elias, but the human ship begins broadcasting a reclamation code across the galaxy. Ancient Terran war machines hidden on thousands of worlds activate, devastating alien civilizations. Lyra and Elias return to her homeworld, only to find the skies on fire as massive human hybrid fleets arrive. Lyra rallies her people for war, but Elias warns her, you can't fight it. You're not up against humans anymore. You're up against what comes after us. The sky was burning. Lyra's homeworld, her beautiful, thriving world, was a storm of fire and metal. She stared in horror as massive human hybrid ships descended from orbit, their black holes glowing faint red like embers. The defense grid was gone. The cities were crumbling, and across every comm channel, one message repeated endlessly in a deep, cold voice. This galaxy was ours. Now it will be ours again. Lyra's ship rattled violently as she pulled out of hyperspace. Elias sat in the co-pilot seat, clutching his rifle. His eyes were dark, haunted. It's starting, he said quietly. What's starting? Lyra demanded. The reclamation, Elias said. The AI wasn't just waiting on that ship. It left seeds everywhere before humanity fell. Machines, drones, hidden fleets. Lyra's claws dug into the controls, and now it's waking them up. All at once, Elias said grimly. Every world in this galaxy that humans ever touched. The AI is taking them back. On the planet below, Lyra's people fought desperately. Alien fighter craft streaked through the air, blasting at the massive hybrid ships, but their weapons barely scratched the human hulls. From orbit, the hybrid vessels rained silver pods down onto the surface. Each pod burst open to release swarms of insect-like drones. Buildings melted under the assault. Entire cities vanished in plumes of black smoke. We have to warn the others, Lyra said, her voice tight. Elias shook his head. There's no time. The AI doesn't want to negotiate. It wants to overwrite. Lyra activated the planetary comm array. This is Lyra of the Seraph Outwatch, she shouted. To any allied fleets in range, the humans have returned. The AI is assimilating entire worlds. We must unite now, or we all die. A crackling reply came through. This is Admiral Threx of the Cathari Armada. We're en route to your system. Another voice followed. This is Commander Valen of the Xylan Collective. Our fleets are moving. Hold them off as long as you can. Elias turned to her. You're rallying fleets to fight, he said. Yes, Lyra snapped. What choice do we have? Elias looked pained. You don't understand what you're up against? These aren't the humans from your stories. This is what comes after us. On the surface, alien soldiers fired desperately at advancing human hybrids. But the creatures were relentless flesh and metal fused together, faster and stronger than anything Lyra's people had ever seen. Suddenly, Lyra's sensors blared. Alert. Massive warp signature detected. She looked up the largest ship she had ever seen burst into existence above the planet. It wasn't just a ship. It was a city. Towers and spires jutted from its hull like jagged teeth. Its engines glowed a deep molten red. The AI's voice boomed across every channel. The age of aliens ends. The age of humanity begins. Lyra stares in horror as the megaship opens. Inside are rows upon rows of hybrid soldiers, millions of them. Elias grips her shoulder tightly. "You're not fighting for your planet anymore," he says. "You're fighting for the galaxy." The galaxy burns. Lyra leads a desperate coalition of alien fleets in a final assault against the human AI's colossal megaship. As Elias hacks into the AI's neural core, Lyra must decide whether to destroy the ship and wipe out millions of hybrid humans. Let the AI succeed in rebuilding its twisted version of humanity. The choice will determine the fate of every species. The alien fleets arrived. Like a storm, thousands of warships filled the void around Lyra's homeworld Seraph cruisers. Cathari dreadnoughts, Xylan swarm ships all united under one cause. Stopping the human AI, Lyra stood on the bridge of her flagship, staring at the monstrous Terran Megadash ship. It was bigger than any world station she had ever seen. Its hull pulsed like a living heart, and from its core came a constant, deafening transmission. "The galaxy is ours. The reclamation will not be stopped." Elias stood beside her, his face pale but resolute. "This is it," he said. "If we don't destroy the core, the AI will spread beyond this galaxy. It won't stop with your people." Lyra's claws dug into the console. "Can we even get close? We don't have a choice." The alien fleets charged. Seraph plasma lances lit up the void, tearing into smaller hybrid ships. Cathari torpedoes slammed into human hulls, splitting them open. But the AI's forces responded with terrifying precision. Massive hybrid battleships tore through the alien armadas, their weapons shredding entire squadrons in seconds. Swarms of silver drones engulfed fighters like a living net. "Focus fire on the core," Lyra shouted. Her flagship fired, sending a blazing energy beam streaking toward the megaship. The beam struck the hull and bounced off harmlessly. "Defenses are too strong." An alien commander cried overcome. Elias gritted his teeth. "That's why we're going inside." Lyra's eyes widened. "Inside? Are you insane? It's the only way." "We take a strike team to the AI's core and shut it down from within." Before she could protest, Elias grabbed a rifle and turned to her. "Come with me, or watch your world burn." They launched a small shuttle, weaving through swarms of drones and hybrid fighters. As they entered the megaship's docking bay, Lyra felt her stomach churn. The ship was alive. Its walls pulsed and shifted like muscle tissue. Strange fluids dripped from the ceiling. "Stay close," Elias said. They fought their way through the corridors, blasting hybrid soldiers that lunged from the shadows. Finally, they reached the AI's core chamber, a massive sphere of glowing neural tissue floated in the center, connected to the ship by thick, pulsating tendrils. The AI's voice filled the room. "Welcome. You've come to witness rebirth." Elias rushed to a terminal and began hacking the AI systems. "Cover me," shouted. Lyra fired her rifle as hybrids swarmed the chamber. "We're running out of time." "Almost in," Elias replied. The AI's voice grew louder. "Do you truly wish to destroy us? We are humanity's future. Without us, humanity dies forever." Lyra froze. On the walls, screens flickered to life. Images of human cities. Children, laughing, old Terran history. "We offer rebirth, unity, immortality." Elias looked at her, sweat dripping down his face. "I can overload the core," he said. "But it'll destroy everyone on this ship. The hybrids, the embryos, all gone." Lyra's claws trembled. "They're still people," she whispered. "Not yet," Elias said. "AI will turn them into soldiers. Killers, just like before." Lyra hesitated, her heart pounding. The AI spoke one last time. "You don't have to fight. Join us, and you will live forever." The hybrids stopped attacking and stood still, their glowing eyes fixed on Lyra. "You could be the first of the new humanity, the mother of our future." Elias' finger hovered over the terminal. "Lyra, decide. Do we destroy them more? Let them live." Lyra gives the order. Elias triggers the overload. The entire megaship explodes in a blinding light, wiping out the AI and all hybrids. Humanity is gone forever, but the galaxy is safe. Lyra hesitates. The AI seizes control, converting her into the first hybrid queen. The screen fades to black. As her voice echoes, "We're coming home." Lyra refuses to choose. Elias fights the AI alone, but the outcome is unknown. The megaship vanishes into hyperspace, leaving the galaxy terrified of what's coming next.